Hello and welcome to my, what are these? What are these? These are my pros and cons. 5 pros, 5 cons of Drawn to Death after playing the game for quite a bit actually. I've played at least 30 matches of the game, and it might not seem like a lot, but that is I think definitely enough to kind of get a good idea of how I feel about this game. And, you know, just, I also played some of the beta, so I feel like I definitely know what's going on with Drawn to Death. And this is kind of an interesting one. I have to admit up front that I do have a bit of a Twisted Metal bias. This is made by the creator of Twisted Metal, and it has a lot of Twisted Metal DNA. And I'll say Twisted Metal a lot when I talk about this game. With that said, I am really enjoying it. So we're going to start with 5 things I really like about this game, and then I'll talk about 5 things, not so much concerns that I have or issues that I have. But let's start with number 1 on my list of pros is I really like the look of this game, which might surprise some people because it has a very it's very in your face, and I think that's the point. These are the sketches of an angsty teen in the 90s. The sketches that he drew in the margins of his notebooks come to life, you know. So everything is very like angry and ridiculous and kind of stupid, but in a good way. I really do like the look of this game, and I feel like they honestly kind of nailed it for the sketchbook style, especially if you look at like the buildings and like the stuff in the background. It's just really cool looking. I've seen a lot of games maybe try a very like distinct style like this, and maybe not. Like I think Mad World looked really cool, but at the end of the day, when you're playing that game, sometimes the look really could get in the way. I don't think that's actually an issue here. I think the game is very playable. Surprisingly so. I think they did a really good job. I don't know how they did it, of balancing, you know, the colors, the bold lines, you know, just something as crazy as this game is, as fast as it is. I'm just saying, they kind of nailed it. They kind of nailed the look. I really like the look. It has a lot of personality, and I mean, I'm not playing this match. I don't know if you know. I actually recorded these matches before I started talking about this, and just watching it without having to play it, I'm actually seeing all the stuff that I had not seen before, like the stuff in the skybox and the stuff written around the battlefield. And like, I'm actually really impressed by some of the stuff I'm seeing for the first time, because when you're in it, it's like, you're in it. You're trying so hard just to stay alive. It's a very fast-paced arena shooter. But yeah, I really like the look of this game. Number 2 of big pros for Drawn to Death is I love the characters. And again, it might be my Twisted Metal bias coming out a little bit, but it's not, you know, I think it's a game inspired by something, you know, like Quake or Unreal. But at the same time, there's a lot of personality and distinctness to each of the characters, and that might seem a little you know, these days maybe not that crazy when you have stuff like Overwatch that's kind of ruling the multiplayer arena for like multiplayer shooters and stuff. But I really do feel like they did a really good job of doing enough to these characters to make them feel really different. Just, you know, kind of like they did in Twisted Metal. And each character has their own unique special moves, which are crazy cool, like moves that are very different. Like one you're seeing right here, that's Johnny Savage, who's he's like a punk rock, you know, fighter, and one of his moves is he'll start like jamming on his guitar, and if you're in that bubble for a certain period of time, your head will get bigger and bigger and bigger, and if he can keep you in that bubble long enough, your head explodes. And that's just kind of cool. They do a really good job of not just really making the characters feel distinct with special moves. Like I've been playing a lot of the Ninja Shark, who can like her special ability is she throws sharks, obviously, because of course she would. She's a shark. Actually, that seems kind of fucked up now that I think about it, because they're exploding sharks. But she also has an anchor move that will chain you to the floor, so it makes it easier for her to hit you with her her rocket sharks. But it's not just the special moves. There's actually a lot of care went into the way the differences in the way the characters feel, and you see that in like the movement abilities, or even like this character here, Alan. He can cloak. He also doesn't get health pickups. He recharges health over time, which, you know, synergizes well with the fact that he can cloak. You know, you take a lot of damage in a firefight. Maybe you get a couple of kills, so you cloak and you go hide while you're trying to, you know, regain some of your health. But the cool thing is, if you're another player, you can actually, he's like a fucking serial killer, and you hear him breathing like really heavily when he's invisible and near you. It's just a lot of cool little details went into the characters. I played Ninja a lot, which I think you'll see me play next. And she has this ability. She can use her anchor to like grapple throughout the stage and really propel her. But she also has this, she can backflip, and it creates like this shield rune that blocks incoming fire. And you can like strategically like backflip through hallways as you're being pursued. And I gotta calm down. Honestly, I could talk. Cyborgula! Every time you fucking kill him, he goes into like this self-destruct mode, and that fucker can fly. I hate that fucker. I could talk all day about how cool the characters are, and there's only like 6 characters right now. I think more are gonna be coming. But like a Twisted Metal, you know, it's kind of the highlight maybe of the game. Except while like in Twisted Metal, you always had these like read about the personalities and saw cutscenes of the personalities in the vehicles. I feel like this is the personalities of that would be driving these Twisted Metal vehicles, and you're playing as them, you know, like kind of come to life. And it's just, it's so fucking good. I really like, I think they fucking nailed it with that aspect of the game. Number 3 pro on Drawn to Death is, I think the game has really, really good and inspired map design, which is not a surprise, because if you've heard me talk about Twisted Metal before, again, this is a David Jaffe game. He made Twisted Metal, but you could tell that him and the people he works with have a very like attention to detail, and the creativity of the map design is always, you always see that in the games that he makes, and this is no exception. There's all kinds of like hidden secrets and like nooks and crannies and stuff that like again, after 30 matches or more at this point, I'm still playing this game, still discovering new stuff about the handful of maps that are available. Lots of like you'll see doors that are like just drawn on the background that sometimes are actually reveal themselves to be like actual hidden passages, and it does real cool stuff. You know, I interviewed David Jaffe once, and he talked about in the Alien City stage, if you go down to the sewers, there's a butthole on the wall, and if you shoot it, like it totally goatsies, and you go into the butthole and it shoots you up into the top of the map in a fountain of brown water or shit. But also in that stage, it has like an alien attacking, and if you shoot the big giant tentacle monster as somebody's near it, it'll like slam a car down and attack them and kill them. Or there's a stage that's kind of in like this weird kind of haunted house where if you find a secret hallway by shooting open one of the doors, there's all these awesome power-ups in this hallway. But there's also a ghost flying around, and if you shoot him, he'll just fucking fly out and attack and instant kill anything that's nearby. It's just a lot of cool little details like that in the map design, and they all feel really different as well too. I definitely have my favorites. I love how in this stage, when you go into this little area, just the whole, you know, diegetic music that's playing from those speakers just kind of mutes out all the other sound. I like this game a lot. I don't know if you noticed. That's number 3. Number 4 is there is a lot of depth to the gameplay. A lot of hidden, surprising depth that I'm still trying to figure out. You know, no weapon, no special ability, no character is like straightforward. There's always something that I'm learning. What is this one weapon called? It's called like the... It's like a shotgun that doesn't do very much damage at all if you're not close, and even then, it's not the most impressive shotgun. but every now and then it has a really lucky shot which does a lot of damage, and you know, you can kind of structure your play around the fact, like, I like to use that gun from far away, even though I'm doing like one damage, just for like the small chance that it might get one of those lucky shots, which can like absolutely, you know, change how the encounter plays out. I gotta focus here. I get excited talking about Drawn to Death because, I don't know, it checks all the things I love about Twisted Metal. So yeah, a lot of depth to the way the game controls, the way movement works, the special abilities, the differences between the characters, and it makes it feel like there's a really high skill ceiling, which I think is true for all arena shooters, but I think in this kind of arena shooter where you have so many abilities, where you have it's not like in a lot of modern shooters where you get to jump on a guy, you know, you unload, you know, half a clip into them and they're dead. You know, if you get to jump on them, they're dead. In this game, you have a lot of life, which means there's like more depth to the encounters. There's a narrative that plays out as you're kind of running back and forth trying to kill each other. And I think that type of combat I don't know what you would call it. That type of I don't know. Characters have a larger life, which means that there's kind of this back and forth. There's a little bit of a chase. And when you have maps that have like power-ups all over it, that have the weapons in them, that have a lot of secrets, it makes sense that you would last a lot longer. It also lets them do things like abilities that kick in when someone is at a certain percentage of health left, like Diablo Tijuana. When she goes below 30% hit points, she fucking speeds up like crazy, which dramatically, you know, it might seem like a small detail, but you can only really pull off something like that in a game where you have characters that have larger life bars, because there's no, in Call of Duty, there's no, oh, you know, if I'm at 30% hit points, I do this, because you're fucking dead. You're always going to die in every 2-second interchange, and it's not like that here, you know, which makes, you know, like the quality maps, like I mentioned before, so much more important. Number 5 thing I really like about this game is I think there's a lot of attention to detail into stuff like the UI, like the sound design. You know, I was saying before I really like the look of this game, and I know it can be divisive because it looks very busy, but it's not so much of an issue when you're actually playing this game, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they really care about the way the information is being you know, fed to the player, and there's so many different weapons, there's so many different abilities and like things going on in any match, yet I always feel like I get a sense of what's happening because it has a really good like sound design, really good sound effects for each of the abilities, really good cues, little things on the UI that tell you what's going on. For example, Diablo has a hat that she can take off and throw, and it does a certain amount of damage, you know, when you hit somebody with it, but it's like a boomerang, and when it comes back, it does even more damage. But if you're being targeted by that, there's a little thing on the HUD in the center of your screen that says, hey, this hat is on your ass, you might need to dodge and get out of the way. For a game where so much death can happen so quickly, I'm never really that surprised by what ended up killing me, or why I ended up dying, which I think can be the case in a game that doesn't do a great job with sound cues, with UI, little UI details. Here's the butthole, the manhole. And I just think that it's just really exceptional here. You know, I think certain games pull it off better than others. I feel like Platinum's always been really good at like stuff like sound cues, and I think they kind of nail it here. Let's move on to cons, though. It's not all positive. I know you don't believe me. Some of the reviews out there are bad. They're like, I don't believe you, Brad. How could it be all sunshine and rainbows when these review scores suck? Well, maybe it has something to do with some of my cons, which may end up sounding like nitpicks because I am such a fan of what I've played of this game so far. Look at these skins. Look at the. So I told you the characters are. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Number 1 on my list of cons is this game is not friendly to newcomers. If you, like I was just saying, there's a lot of depth. You have a lot of enemies have a lot of life, which means you got to really know what you're doing to be able to kill them. You know, each character plays very differently. Each weapon works very differently. There's a surprising amount of differentiation or difference between one like shotgun to the next, like dramatically so, more so than in other more like modern shooters where the differences are actually, you know, quite minor. So it's a lot to learn, and the people who like these games play a lot of them, especially arena shooters, which, you know, are like 100% skill based. Knowledge of the maps, knowledge of the characters, knowledge of the matchups. There's actually like some characters are better. They have counters to other characters, almost like a fighting game, or actually, I guess, kind of like a MOBA or something, where like Cyborgula, who's like this cyborg flying demon, can actually see Alan's invisibility, or Alan's chainsaw does more damage to Diablo, but at the same time, she can kneel down on the ground when Johnny's doing his riff and actually heal from that instead of die from it, But it's a lot to learn, and I think that newcomers who are picking up this game through like PlayStation Plus, expecting just to, you know, expecting like Rocket League or something, I think they're in for a rude awakening. Getting good at this game is going to take a lot of time, and that's just the truth of it. You know, a lot of people thought that because this game is, you know, it's free with PlayStation Plus, that maybe it'll achieve the same success that Rocket League had, but Rocket League, when it came out, it was like anybody could play that fucking game. You know, your little brothers and sisters could play that game. You're just a car knocking balls into a goal. But here, it could be really tough. Number two on things that maybe aren't so great about this game is this game is not technically free to play. I mean, it's free with PlayStation Plus, and because you kind of have PlayStation Plus to be able to play multiplayer games, it is sort of effectively free to play. And I think at one point it was even going to be free to play, and you can kind of see the DNA in there, because it takes a long time to unlock stuff with in-game currency. Now, all the weapons, you know, you can't all the stuff that you can unlock in the game. What am I trying to say? You can pay real money to unlock some of the weapons, but that's stuff you can earn in the game. But most of the stuff that you're trying to unlock are like cosmetic, or you pay to unlock our cosmetic stuff. It's the weapons in that you're spending a lot of time trying to unlock. I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm rambling. That stuff goes kind of slowly, really slowly, in fact, to the point where you know, I kind of am thinking about maybe just spending the $9.99 to unlock the base weapons, because I'd rather be spending that currency on whatever this Sphinx thing is. You know, and it sucks because you never want to feel like you have to play a billion matches to get anything out of it. But, you know, maybe you kind of do. I don't really have an issue with that, because I honestly, I feel like a game like this, an arena shooter, the joy of playing a game like this is just playing it, not actually unlocking all these, like, weapons and stuff. So, I don't know. But I know it's going to bum out a lot of people. Just try to enjoy the game itself, and not so, maybe don't obsess over the unlock so much. Number three, and this kind of leads into my number three con, is that again, it might be somewhat unique to me, but because, you know, I'm a streamer on Twitch, that you know, a lot of the people I play with are people within, you know, our own community here at 4Player. And because of that, we end up doing a lot of friendly matches because we want to play with each other. And it's really kind of bummed me out doing friendly matches. You don't unlock anything, which is, you know, kind of understandable, because you don't want anybody gaming that system, especially if they're trying to make money from it, as the developer's trying to get paid. But some of the issues I had are with, like, it won't even track like kills, time played with certain characters, time played with certain weapons. And I've played a lot of this game, but most of it has been friendly matches, and it really bums me out that none of that stuff is being tracked. It only seems to track your stats when you're playing ranked or unranked. And you know, I'm not asking for handouts. I just want to see my time with this game actually reflected in game, whether I'm playing friendly or unfriendly. Kind of a nitpick, kind of maybe exclusive to me because I am playing mostly friendly matches, but yeah. Number 4 on my cons with the game isn't so much of a con for me, but I'm going to label it as a con because this game can be very in your face with with the jokes, with the memes, with like the humor. And I've seen a lot of criticism saying that the game is like aggressively unfunny. When you're actually playing the game, that's not so much of a concern. I mean, the announcer can be kind of annoying, but I think that's the fucking point. You know, there's definitely a certain style they're going for here, and I feel like without that sort of craziness, it might actually feel a little lifeless. And I do think it really does fit the aesthetic. You know, it's you know who was annoying? Us when we were angsty teens drawing these kind of drawings in our fucking notebooks. And I feel like the jokes, the memes, the like the announcer, everything sort of reflects that, like it, honestly, like it should. I'm getting completely worked here, by the way. People I've been playing with are savages, and I've been struggling. But anyways, it's gonna bother some people more than others. It doesn't really bother me. In fact, I find it kind of endearing, kind of charming, honestly. It reminds me of how dumb I was in high school. But yeah. Number 5, finally. Number 5, con, maybe a big con, but we'll have to see, honestly, is that I think that it's more of a future con. And that's that because of some of the it not being friendly, because of the slow unlocks, the free-to-play-ish feeling to this game, I think the audience could suffer for this game. Like, this thing's never going to be as popular as Overwatch or a lot of the other shooters out there, which is fine. It's understandable. But what happens is when you have a smaller audience for something like this, and I know this from, like, playing Twisted Metal and stuff, you might struggle to find people who just kind of want to play to casually, play to have a good time, play to fuck around, because as an audience shrinks, and I'm just being real here, you have the people who really love it, who play it like every fucking day, just go in there and just lay waste to the people who just kind of enjoy the look of the game and enjoy, let me see if I can skip here. Some of this footage. Okay. Sorry. And because of that, it's more of a concern. My final con is more of a concern. If this game isn't as popular as I think honestly it should be, because I think this game is dope as fuck, I think I'm gonna personally have a really hard time playing it because, you know, I'm a grown-ass man. I don't have actually that much time to play this game every week. I don't want to, you know, pop in this game, you know, next week or a month from now or 2 months from now and just get completely wrecked because the only people who are playing it are godlike. It's hard to fault the game for that, but it's just sort of a symptom of a game that maybe is not quite as popular as the biggest shooters out there, which, you know, it's probably not going to be. Man, I nailed that guy with that. By the way, that coffin bomb, which has like an exploding corpse in it, you reload that by like reaching into the ground and pulling another corpse out of the ground and loading it into the coffin. It's just fucking cool. Anyways, 30 matches. I'm probably going to play a lot more when I find time. Probably about 40 matches at this point. But yeah, that's my 5 pros. That's my 5 cons for Drawn to Death. I'm actually a lot higher on this game than, well, I mean, it sounds like I'm pretty high on this game. But I had to list my issues with it too because I try to be as absolutely fair and honest as possible. And that's pretty much it. Play with me. If you have PlayStation Plus, it is free with PlayStation Plus. At the very least, download it, try it out, mess around with the tutorial. There's a lot of cool weapons, a lot of cool characters. Play the fucking game. I need some people to play with. Have a good day. Twisted Metal on feet. It's Twisted Metal on feet. That's... Fuck Cyborgula. Goodbye.